Fake carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake. Fake grapefruits. Fake. Liar! You liar! What the hell is going on? Welcome back. It's Friday, free for all, and we're going to get it on. I just rolled in. What is Zoo-Man talking about? Yeah, we've been waiting on him all day. No, actually, it's been, folks, whatever time it was I got up till now, and we're still working it. You and I, we're still paying our taxes. You and I. Woo! While the rest of the world sits back and says, give us more of that free money. I'll tell you what, folks. Get your questions down below. It is the Friday free for all. If you're on thepreparedmind.club, if you're a premium member, if you're on subscribestar.com and you're a premium member, it's the same cost both ways, $2 a month. And you support this show, who we are, what we're doing, our mission, our goal is to get everyone we can prepared because shit has hit the fan. Way back in 2020 when they said, hey, why doesn't everybody just stay home? We're going to shut down the whole fucking planet. And I was like, this is not a good sign. Anyways, here we are. Here we are. And shit has hit the fan, folks. What do I got right out the gate? We've got Merrick Garlick, or is it Merrick Garlick Liquor or Butt Liquor? That guy, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, he says, quote, it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel. Now, when I read that, I just stopped right there on the article. I went, you mean Merrick Garland is going to appoint a special counsel because it's in the public interest? Because the Bidens are so bad and this FTX thing is so bad and everything that's gone on with Ukraine and the money laundering is so bad that Merrick Garland is going to appoint a special counsel to investigate? And then, folks, reality set in. You see, there's intelligence, and then there's the idiocracy. The idiocracy, well, special counsel is going to go after President Trump. That's right, folks. He's announced. He said, well, 3 days ago, he goes, I'm going to run for president in 2024, right? And so now they're going to investigate him. Let's see. Merrick Garland, special counsel, January 6th, bullshit committee, the mainstream media, Nancy Pelosi, two-time impeachment bullshit. I mean, they haven't found anything on him. Russia. The Mueller special probe / special counsel / special finger job, right? Look out. These people they can't quit, folks. I mean, seriously, they're going to go after Trump because it's in the public interest. But it's not in the public interest to look into the crack smoking, the weed smoking, the cocaine snorting, the opium in the baggie, whatever the fuck that was, weighing drugs in front of, with a hooker, recording it, putting it on his laptop. This is all Hunter Biden stuff. That's just the drug stuff. And then there's the hookers. Hookers and blow and hookers. There you go. That's Hunter Biden. And then he talks about, well, the big guy gets 10%. His dad getting 10% kickbacks. That would be the big guy, Joe Biden. His fucking car on the license plate says the big guy. We know who the big guy is, but it's in the public interest to investigate Trump. Folks, it is no longer a political process. It's a politicized and weaponized Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. Everything is now politicized. Medicine is politicized. Well, politics is politicized, right? Campaigns are politicized. Everything is politicized. Law enforcement should never be politicized. Yet, here it is, folks. Here it is, right? Ignore Biden, right? Ignore Joe. Ignore Hunter. Ignore all of that. And go after Trump. What are they going to go after him for this time? Unfreaking believable. I mean, if they want to investigate something, how about this? How about investigating the Patriot Front? Because they went to Harvard and started harassing locals. That's right, folks. Wearing their masks still, like Antifa, to hide their faces. Right? The khaki-clad Klux Klan, the Patriot Front, the fake right-wing conspiracy group that's actually looks to be a bunch of federal Bureau of Investigation jackasses. They're out there again. What could be their reason for coming back out? Well, they're getting too much attention with FTX. Ukraine blew their false flag and got caught. Their hand in the cookie jar, right? Or their hand on the push the missile button. So it's time to, well, distract people, false flags, scare people. Who knows? This Patriot Front is a bunch of crap. I sure hope you got a lot of stuff you want to talk about. I am so beat. It has been one hell of a week, and I am fired up, pissed off. What do you guys want to talk about? Ooh-man, do we have anyone out there has something on their mind they want to get to us? And yeah, Ooh-man is in charge. Jolene, she's not on a pleasure cruise. She is working her ass off. Ooh-man, he's been working too. At least he got a lunch. He was bragging about how he got to stop and have a lunch. Anyways, we got Christine Bihana. And she says, in times of tyranny and injustice, when law oppresses the people, the outlaw takes his place in history. That's quite interesting. And that's a quote from Ooman. Who the heck said that? I don't think I've ever heard that expressed that way. But that really sounds prolific or pontific, right? Yeah, in times of tyranny and justice, when law oppresses the people, when the government oppresses the people, then the outlaw takes his place in history. Who's the outlaw, folks? Well, we know in truth that when the government is oppressing the people, the government is outside the law. They're acting outside the law and its authority. The government is truly the outlaw. But because they're the government, they claim that what they're doing is always right. And therefore, if you disobey them and obey God's law, they're declaring you to be the outlaw. Interesting how they put the good people into the category of outlaw. Gut, God. Good people, God people. The good people become outlaws. That is why in the good book, right, it says, sell your cloak and buy a sword. There are a lot of passages, folks, out there that say, hey, stand up and act ye like men. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Right? Hey, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, but give to God what belongs to God. And that would be, right, the law. The law doesn't belong to man. It is borrowed by man with the purpose of using it, the express purpose of doing good things. And when law is oppressing people, as Christine Bahana talks about, when the law is oppressing, that is not good. It's not good. It's not the way it's supposed to be. That means somebody in government, all of government that is oppressive, is breaking the law and performing acts of evil. Okay. Uman says, that wasn't my quote. I believe you, man. Robin Hood. From the early 12th century. I tell you what, folks, if you could go back to the 12th century, okay, the 1100s, 12th century, that time frame when they don't know if Robin Hood's a myth or a true man, but at that time, common law, the English common law was coming into its own. It was being developed, right? Now, the other day we talked about, in fact, it was just last night, we talked about the collapse of civilization. Well, an empire can collapse, but civilization doesn't. An empire fails because the people at the top are corrupt, oppressive, evil, and just plain stupid. So they collapse the empire, but civilization continues, right? And they continue to refine and define law and systems of government and rule. And it developed into, folks, English common law. And it had its hiccups, trust me. And then we had the Magna Carta, where King John, folks, here we go with the Robin Hood stuff again, right? Evil King John, shithead King John and his rotten Sheriff of Nottingham, right? King John had a sword put to his neck and said, hey, we've got this interesting document. It's called the Magna Carta, charter, rules, constitution, Magna, right? Big, the big rules. And they asked him politely at the end of a sword to sign on the dotted line. These are the rights of men. These are the rules. And the king will obey. The people, folks, never, ever, ever were intended to work for the king, right? The king served the people. Believe it or not, folks. History would have us believe that, well, the king has his subjects. Well, the terminology has been flipped around quite a bit. You could say, yes, we're subjects of the king, right? Or you could say we're subject to the king's rules, but the king was subject to his role, and his role was serving the people. So it's a balanced thing, right? A king is only fit to rule when he serves the people, when he protects his people. He is charged with protecting the people. Just as our government, we elect people and they are sworn in and they are given a charge. That is a set of duties that they must fulfill. And part of that charge or charter is not to do what they want and as they will and violate everyone's rights, but rather to serve the people. Okay, anyways, great topic, Christine Bahana. You got me all fired up there. I'm pissed off already. What a week. That was the only cold thing I had in the prepared bunker fridge. With some kind of Mike's lemonade thing. All right. It continues, folks. A transgender male who is a biological male but identifies as a girl took first place in a girls' track meet after placing 72nd in the boys' competition. Is there a difference between boys and girls? Yes, there is. Right? There just truly is. This is, nothing illustrates this better than this right here. Your first place or 72nd place. Remember, whoever that trans girl guy one is in the swimming was a terrible male swimmer, just crushing the female records. What part of that is admirable? What part of that makes sense? If you want to go, I identify as a girl and I'm going to chop my weenie off at some point when it's beneficial for me. And, everyone goes, oh, you're so brave for coming out and just whatever the hell it is you're doing. You're so brave. There's a difference between that and then going, well, and now I'm going to go compete against people who are physiologically handicapped compared to, my testosterone-driven frame and muscular development. Anyways, a bunch of stuff. All righty. Unbelievable. Just what is going on? Now, this was interesting. down in the great state of Florida, over that way, they have the Stop Woke Act, right? Governor DeSantis has that thing. And a federal judge has made a ruling about a state law. And yes, it's an Obama judge. But get this bullshit. Okay, the judge on the Stop Woke Act, folks, was designed to stop anti-white, prejudicial anti-white viewpoints that were being taught as fact, right? I remember this thing about discrimination. You're not supposed to discriminate based on, gender, creed, race, color, religion, any of that stuff, right? Yet they're teaching discrimination. So they have the Stop Woke Act, right? You're not allowed to do that shit. If you remember, folks, by the way, if you remember, I can't remember. I mean, this when I read this, it just blew my mind. The judge calls it, quote, positively dystopian, the law. If you remember, the Democrats in the 60s were the party of the KKK. And if you remember, the Democrats did not want to have the civil rights movement be a success. They didn't want to accept it. They didn't want to grant equality. They wanted special privilege, white privilege, if you will. The Democrats did. And now here we are, folks, 50, 60 years later, and the Democrats once again want special privilege. They don't want equality. Only they want anti-white privilege or black privilege or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, this judge had this to say. Get this shit. Get this shit. Quote, our professors are critical to a healthy democracy, and the state of Florida's decision to choose which viewpoints are worthy of illumination and which must remain in the shadows has implications for us all. This is Judge Walker. He says, quote, if our priests of democracy, yes, he called professors priests of democracy. So the government, which through the First Amendment is prohibited from recognizing and sanctioning or choosing a specific religion, just did that and said, how dare you, our priests of democracy, the BLM, right, critical race theory priests are the ones the government accepts, right? They just sanctioned, they just chose a religion that you have to believe. Unfucking believable. If our priests of democracy are not allowed to shed light on challenging ideas, then democracy will die in darkness. I mean, this guy, it's a load of crap. He calls a rule that says colleges, education will not teach that any race is bad, right? You will not discriminate. You won't teach discrimination. I don't think that's such a bad thing, right? We don't teach in schools that Arabs are bad or Africans are bad or Asians are bad, or we don't teach that South Americans are bad, any race or creed or anything, right? We're not allowed to. It's not good. It's not nice. People should be able to, folks, have challenging ideas and discuss them, right? I mean, this is crazy. Priests of democracy. Now, as far as challenging ideas, you mean like conservative ideas? Let's see. Challenging ideas like freedom of speech, freedom to protect yourself, Second Amendment, freedom from oppression, Fourth and Fifth Amendments in the Constitution. Shouldn't we be able to talk about those? Challenging ideas like, are the elections really fair? Have the elections been good or bad? Shouldn't we be able to challenge every side of everything and ask questions? Even if we don't like the answer, even if it results in no clear answer, shouldn't we at least be able to have the discussion and shed some light on some challenging ideas? Well, not if you're a fucking Democrat. and not if you're on a college campus. You can only talk about their garbage. Folks, the Stop Woke Act stops anti-white, anti-European, racist viewpoints and the discriminatory policy that has been set up on college campuses. You know, we want anti-discrimination, but this is incredible. Go ahead and hold off on Penelope for just another couple of seconds there. I know she's got something to say. And then, folks, it's incredible what's going on with these fucking people. Literally, they want to keep colleges talking as long as they say what they want them to say. It's too much. It's really too much. They're crap. All right, let's do this. Let's get to Penelope now. It is the Free-for-All Friday, and I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank everyone for participating, getting your questions in. I want to thank everyone for supporting Ooman, me, Jolene, Kaz, Vaughn, and the whole R syndicate behind the scenes. And this is Penelope. She says, hey, all. Went shopping today, so reorganizing pantry. Did y'all see where Maxine Waters will be heading the investigation on the FTX mess? A video from last year shows her blowing the FTX geek owner a kiss. I found that rather fascinating. So, Mad Maxine Waters, as she's known, is the one who says, well, if you see a Republican, you got to go out there and harass them. Don't let them have peace in the restaurant, in the public, shopping, anywhere you see them, harass them, get in their face. That's that same Mad Maxine Waters, that same hypocrite. Well, she's going to, as a Democrat, she's going to be in charge of investigating the FTX insider trading, money laundering. Where the hell did the money go? Pee and shell game. Oh, and then let's see. Funding of extreme leftist politicians and rhino Republicans. Unbelievable. Thank you, Ooman. Unbelievable. And then, well, if she's blowing this clown a kiss, this fruitcake of a turd who is stolen $10 to $50 billion, it's missing. It's been laundered. I mean, I read the quotes of the guy, the man who is in charge of going over it, handling the bankruptcy, and said, this is unprecedented. It's crazy. They can't account for anything, right? He had some interesting words to describe this clown, right? Inexperienced, untrustworthy, just unbelievable. And here Maxine says, oh, I love you, little buddy. And then a year later, she's going to really investigate him. Well, most Democrats have stepped down from their positions of power or said they're not going to continue to exercise them, right? Like dumbass Hoyer, Mr. Deep State himself. Nancy Pelosi says she's not going to seek any leadership position. She's just going to sit in her office, I'm sure. And I bet she'll be sampling bottles of wine all day long. I'm sure she's really going to represent stuff. Anyways, thank you, Penelope. This is crazy. It is, folks. I mean, unbelievable. Right? You want some more? You haven't got enough? You want to know that shit has hit the fan? Well, Zelensky over in Ukraine, the little handmaiden puppet of the World Economic Forum, is continuing to push his lie about the missiles that hit Poland, that they were Russian, as he continues to push for World War III. Folks, Zelensky's losing relevance, and he's losing it fast. Right? So he's going for the sucker move, right? He's trying to start more war, distract, false flag attacks. U.S. Congress is now saying they need some accounting for where the money was gone before we send them even more money. People are sick and tired in the United States and over in Europe. They're sick and tired, folks, of paying for this war. They're paying twice. You're paying in inflation because of all the problems it's causing. It's contributing to the inflation issue. And then the taxes, right? Plus personal hardships, personal shortages in Europe, in America, because of this nonsense. And most people are like, well, I can go get food and I can get fuel. And Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't have those kind of shortages yet, but enough shortages that fuel prices are going crazy. And then I get a message from Ooman that the prices are dropping in the Illinois area for some strange reason. And so Jolene's like, what the hell? Maybe that'll make it to California. And I was like, I doubt that. Anyways, what a fucking mess. What an absolute mess with what is going on. All right, it is a free-for-all Friday. Let's get it on. Ooh, man, who do we want to throw under the bus next? I mean, who do we want to talk to next? Mikey G says, Carrie Lake, who is the Republican Make America Great Again, the Republican America First candidate, the American Trump-supported candidate, and I guess that all that being the case, no Republican, money from the Republican Party National went to her. I'm willing to make that bet. Anyways, she refuses to concede. And apparently in the great state of Arizona, they are close to an auto recount anyway. You see, there's a rule that if the election is too close or so close, that it's automatically recounted anyways. And I'm glad Carrie Lake has refused to accept loss. Once again, I don't like what is going on in the country. I don't like that Nintendo has been jacked up and hijacked. But just going, we'll get them next time and not doing anything doesn't help. I had someone at the function I went to last night say, hey, John, what do you think of Trump running for president again? And I said, I think it's a great idea. He can get out in front and take all the arrows and all the spears and everything that's thrown at him, all the rocks, because that's what Trump likes and that's what Trump does. And we need more exposure of all the corruption that's going on. And Trump isn't afraid to do that, and he should do it even more. Carrie Lake, by refusing to concede that she lost in a game of Nintendo in the state of Arizona for governorship, right? She's drawing attention to it, to what is going on, what is happening, and what needs to be done, right? Let's see. If you're driving down the road in your automobile and you hear a squeak, squeak, and then it stops. And you're like, what was that squeak? No problem. And another 10 miles down the road, it goes squeak, squeak. And you're like, yeah, I think something's wrong, but I can't seem to pinpoint it. It's because you're not getting enough indication that there's a problem, that something's broken and it needs to get fixed. But if you're driving down the road and your car's going vert, 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 squeak, squeak, vert, 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 squeak, squeak, you're going to be able to identify where the sound is coming from, right? Everyone in the car is going to know. Even people driving next to you are going to be pointing, going, your fucking wheel's coming off, man. Vert, 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 squeak, 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 right? You know what's broken if enough noise is made. That's what we're getting with Trump. That's what we're getting with Carrie Lake. That's what we're getting with everybody. In 2020, when they stood up and said, hey, do not certify that Nintendo game, it got everyone's attention. So the mainstream media, social media, the Democrats all came up with a scheme. No more talking about it. That's essentially saying, hey, if your car's making squeak, squeak, squeak noises, just put some earphones on and the problem's gone. Give me a fucking break. They're trying to silence us or deafen us so we can't hear, right? If you can't hear what's going on, you don't know there's a problem. Carrie Lake, President Trump, I want them out front screaming, yelling, making a bunch of noise so everyone goes, something's wrong. It's broken. We need to fix it. So that's how I think of it, right? You can't get to the revolution without somebody getting punched in the nose. You can't get through that revolution without a lot more people getting punched in the nose after that first guy gets punched in the nose. And until everybody has gotten punched in the nose enough to know who wins the fight ain't over. Folks, we're still waiting for that punch in the nose. We're still waiting for that. Remember when I said, and everyone else has said, when shit hits the fan and it's go time, we'll know it. There'll be no mistaking it. There'll be no going back. Right? The government, as far as I'm concerned, has crossed over that line. They've stepped over that red line, that thin line, to where they're taking action that is completely unconstitutional. The political parties are cheating, lying, and stealing. They've gone over the line. So it's just a short while before we, the people, and shall we say our opponents in the political panoply, start throwing proverbial punches. Throw out a lot of P stuff there. What a world. What a shitstorm we got, folks. Where do we go, right? Where do we go? I mean, this is good. And again, nothing is going to change with this. But you all remember Senator Hawley, right? Well, he took off. He tore into FBI Director Chris Wray. He says, quote, "Do you think you're still up to this job? I think you should have been gone a long time ago." Folks, would you have ever heard that? Even back in the 90s. I mean, there was an entirely incredible politicized bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. Her name was Janet Reno. Right? She was pretty much troublemaker, right? Waco, Texas, Ruby Ridge. And she was the one who said, well, we've got to do Waco, right, to save the children. And then they killed all the children, right? Well, Chris Wray, right, for a Republican to say that about him, obviously the belief system is he is one crooked son of a bitch, and he is the head of the FBI. Do you think you're still up to this job? I think you should have been gone a long time ago. Yet, he's supported by the Democrats. I believe that if you're going to have a cabinet level position, you have to be approved by the U.S. Senate. Right? In order to get into these big positions, the Senate confirms these people. Unbelievable, folks. Unfreaking believable. Ooh, man, what do we got next on your end of things? What does the crowd want to talk about? And we've got Orlando. And he has a statement. He says, Nancy Pants is out. Thank God. Yeah, 90 proof Nancy Pelosi. She is not going to be the Speaker of the House very much longer. Maybe now we can have a decent start to fix things, but we need more people to wake the fuck up, writes Orlando. SHTF is still coming, but maybe it's been delayed more. Well, pardon me, I needed to stretch my back there. In my opinion, Orlando, shit has hit the fan. We're in SHTF light. We're in it light still, right? We had some good, crazy-ass Mad Max shit in 2020, but the heavy-duty stuff, is it going to be delayed more with a Republican House of Representatives, right? Because the Democrats are getting close to losing some of their authority. They still have the presidency and they still have the Senate. I think they're going to become more desperate. As a more desperate bunch of morons, the Democrats, or rather their super secret Gestapo force, the crooked FBI that I just mentioned, their leader, who the Senate, well, the Republican senators say, dude, you should have been gone a long time ago. You suck. That's, I think, a nice way of putting it. Right? We could have some Patriot Front, FBI, false flag shit go down here in order to push more totalitarian, dictatorial control from pedo Hitler himself. I don't put anything past these people. Remember that the Summer of Love, the mostly peaceful protests, as over $4 billion fucking dollars in damage was done. It was all sparked by what? It was sparked by a man who was a multiple felon who had committed a home invasion robbery, pointed a gun at a pregnant woman's belly. This man continued to break the law and was going to be arrested. It was in the process of being arrested for passing off bad checks, counterfeit cash, something of that nature. And he appeared to be whacked out of his mind on drugs. Before the police even put a single hand on him, he was complaining that he couldn't breathe. I'm talking about St. George Floyd. The death of a known scofflaw, an outlaw, a criminal, a known criminal, a historic criminal with a rap sheet, folks. A rap sheet so long that I don't think any rapper could sing it without losing his breath and having to start again. Yeah. One guy, a total... He wasn't a good guy, folks. St. George Floyd was not a good guy, but he's been sainted by the left. And his death was used as the excuse for all the damage that was done. Oh, yes, other people were killed. Lots of white people were killed by cops. Lots of black people killed by cops. Lots of Hispanics killed by cops. Lots of hillbillies killed by cops. Lots of swamp billies killed by cops. But this one, right, they used as their excuse. They only need one thing, Orlando, to create the firestorm again, to justify their madness. Yeah, people do need to wake the fuck up. I agree with you 100%. And we may get a little more time. We may get a reprieve as the new Republican House of Representatives starts some fighting with the pedo Joe or pedo Hitler, if you will. But I am not going to back off on my message. We are in as dire a condition as ever as we go into more economic turmoil. Like I said, fucking stupid ass Biden wants to give another $37 billion to Zelensky. What, why, where? I mean, where the fuck did that come from? Zelensky, get this. He says, peace, peace, last weekend. He says, peace. Last weekend, it's the weekend right behind him. And this week, he's shooting off missiles at Poland. Unbelievable. Peace, peace. Right? A little piece of Poland. Right? That's what Hitler was like. A little piece of France. A little piece of Austria. Right? Czechoslovakia, perchance. Peace. These guys that cry peace and then they work for war. These Democrats call for tolerance and they are intolerant. They claim they want fairness and then they do everything they can to show us how unfair they are. Where do we go from here? Anyways, thank you, Orlando. There are dozens of documents, folks, that show who Jeffrey Epstein's associates were. And they're going to be unsealed because a judge has ruled that the public interest in what was going on with the grand high wizard of underage sex, Jeffrey Epstein, that is more important than their privacy. Well, you see, when there's a court case, the evidence is supposed to be public. Who is this person? What are they doing? Who are his business associates? When the business has to do with, that's right, human trafficking. Unfreaking believable, folks. I don't expect there to be any names released. I expect there to be a fucking presidential order. Or some other judge is going to say, no, we have to respect their privacy. Meanwhile, you have no privacy. Not with your phone, not with your internet, not with your television, not with Alexa, not with your Apple. Nothing, right? And they can claim they have a right to your stuff because in order to use their product, you have to agree to give up all of your privacy, give them all of your data. But people who are associated with a known pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, well, we can't know who they are. No. Let's not do that. Just sickening. Oh, by the way, the Babylon Bee, another satire channel, is being reinstated on Twitter. Reinstated. I don't know what, but we don't know about Trump yet. And apparently Trump has his own social media network. But why don't they know about Trump? Once again, it's free speech, is it not? Is it a free speech platform or is it not a free speech platform? Just because Trump is able to troll and piss off these people so well, we better keep him quiet. Yeah. Anyways, they want everyone quiet. They want everyone to shut up. And again, down in Brazil, folks, their Supreme Court in the country of Brazil, right, are ordering banks to freeze, block, put a hold on the funding of businessmen who are in support of the protests that are going on regarding their Nintendo games. They don't like free speech. And it's shocking to me and pisses me off that Elon Musk doesn't just say, hey, Trump, guess what, buddy? You got your account. If you want to use it, it's yours. Go right ahead. Either use that account or another account. We don't care, right? Freedom of speech. Like Trump is out there pushing white supremacy? I don't think so. Like Trump is out there pushing fascist ideas like, well, like go to war and make the people pay for it. Oh, no, that would be Biden. Right? Trump is not out there saying, we need insurrection. That would be Mad Maxine Waters. That would be Kamala Camel Toes, Twinkle Toes Harris, the vice president, telling these rioting, burning, looting, murdering scumbags, well, you should get back out there. Don't quit. But yeah, down in Brazil, Supreme Court says, hey, banks, you need to block their funds. We can't have that free speech going on. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. Well, what do you guys want to talk about? We're 40 minutes into it, folks. We got about another 20 to go, a little less. Uman says, speaking of Brazil, funniest thing I saw today was a trans mute in Brazil. And he sang a Celine Dion song, got a standing ovation on Brazil's Got Talent, and he won. I mean, he says, sad that people can't even stand up and call stupid. First place participation trophies for everyone. This is sadly an indicator that we've got a long way to go before the stupid is stopped. We've got to go a lot further down before we can go up, folks. That is monumental stupidity. Hey, look. If you're mute, meaning you can't hear, you're deaf, you are tone deaf. You're beyond tone deaf. I'm tone deaf. I'm half deaf. And I can't sing. The only reason this person is encouraged is because they're deaf. I mean, go on, Deaf People Got Talent. Okay, that's fine. It's like the Paralympics. These are people with notable handicaps, deficiencies, birth defects, whatever, but they have a game where they can compete on that level with everyone else, right? Kind of like how boys should compete with boys, girls should compete with girls, and people who don't know what they are should compete against each other. But to look at the entire country of Brazil and say, you've got talent, for trying, participation trophy. It's like Pennsylvania putting up a complete dunderhead stroke mental problem, disorder, brain dead guy. Oh, they did. Senator-elect Fetterman in Pennsylvania. They wanted him in there because, we need someone like that to help represent people who are like that. We shouldn't silence people like that. Well, they silence the hell out of everyone else. And why should he have a voice that loud and that much power when he's demonstrated he can't even think straight, speak, read, anything? I mean, speaking of that, President Biden's down at the G20. Didn't take questions from reporters, but folks, he was allowed to make some statements and he could barely speak. Remember when there was questions about Trump's fitness for office because he stumbled? Well, Biden stumbled on like day one 3 fucking times going up Air Force One. It's unbelievable. I don't even want to. I was going to play the clip. Fuck it. You guys have seen the clip. 3 times he trips. He's been tripping on his words. He can't read. He gets lost on stage. He shakes hands with nobody, with the air. He wanders off topic. He leans into the mic and whispers to the camera like his handlers behind him won't hear him. This guy's fucking lost as fuck, folks. And he's leading this country astray and into destruction. Unbelievable. Yeah. there's a problem. Catherine Engelbrecht was held for 4 days in solitary confinement for making the 2000 Mules video documentary. And in this solitary confinement, there was a plate glass window, so if she had to go to the bathroom or shower, she could be viewed. These people are sick. I mean, the January 6 protesters that are still being held, they're being tortured, kept in unsanitary conditions, being given crap for food. That's why I won't allow myself to be arrested. I don't want bugs for food. I don't want soy for food. I don't want to be fed contaminated food. I don't want to be fed mRNA junk. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what these people are up to. Well, here we are, back to Brazil really quickly. Truckers and Indios, whatever the hell Indios are in Brazil, they're shutting down Brazil. Just the same way that they shut down Canada. Now, what's interesting and of note is, well, Canada went to people's bank accounts and shut them down. And Brazil's doing the same thing, going to people who have money and saying, hey, you don't get your money. The people can shut the country down, folks. And the government, what's their answer? Right? Steal, destroy everything else. Unbelievable. Let's do this. Let's get to your questions right out there. They're out there. They're floating around. The true Ooman has them for us. He says, Heidi says, I heard that Biden has been offering leases for oil and gas drilling in the U.S. to the Chinese, brokered by Hunter. Not entirely sure if it is true. I'll tell you what, Heidi, we don't know if it's for sure true. There have been rumors of that have come out in the past few months. I think what we did find out was that the strategic oil reserves were being sold by the Biden administration to the highest bidder rather than releasing them for the American public. And in that case, the highest bidder, I think, was China. But, who knows? I mean, we can never really know the truth about what's going on. That was a loud noise. Holy shit. If I crash, it's because my chair just broke. Wow. All right, Ooman, what's up next? I wonder if you guys could hear what I heard and as loud as I heard it. It is Greg Madere. He says, comment on. The Department of Justice has announced it is opening an investigation into President Trump and January 6th. Yeah. Oh, they're all over it. First, they were like, I mean, the news story came out. Attorney General Merrick Garland to appoint special counsel. Right. And then, yep. Now we got the special counsel. We need to look into that. They can't let it go. They can't let Trump back on the scene. Now, and I think I've said this. I'm watching. I got Ooman right down there, folks. Ooman is sitting on a little micro screen. I can see him, and I guess he can see me. But this Trump is not like the world's greatest president ever. What he did, though, folks, is he demonstrated that he couldn't be controlled, that he's his own man. Some people say he's controlled opposition, and some people say he's been put in place just so they can throw shit at him and get the country fighting with each other, that he's a stooge and he's doing it on purpose. Why would a man with an ego, and Trump, folks, believe me, has a fucking ego like the size of the moon. It's huge, right? And that's just who he is. That's fine. Why would a guy with an ego that big allow himself to be publicly pilloried by the mainstream media and the political system and half the country? Why would he put himself out there to be treated like such shit by everyone? So unless he's some sort of fucking masochist and he likes having his face rubbed in shit all day, I don't think he's there as their stooge. I think he really is his own guy. Yeah, I don't think he's the most conservative president ever, but he had so much good for the country. He was trying to help the country after 8 fucking years of Obama and 8 years of the Patriot Act under President Bush and 8 years of the fucking Clintons and 4 years of President George H.W. Bush. Read my lips, no new taxes. Oh, by the way, here's some new fucking taxes for you. Right? Yeah, that. Trump, they can't have him in D.C. He's just way too risky, way too dangerous. For 4 years, essentially, folks, Trump put off the Great Reset. He delayed the Great Reset, the shit hits the fan, by 4 years. They wanted to start earlier, folks. They wanted to start earlier. They wanted to start what they're doing now earlier. They wanted to have their pandemic earlier. They wanted to have their cryptocurrency earlier. They wanted to have everything earlier, but Trump screwed it all up. They hated him for it. Interesting stuff. Anyways, Greg, thank you very much. And folks, by the way, I will be back Sunday night live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. And we're going to talk about the upcoming week and the shit that's coming. All right, let's do this. Let us do this. Ooh, man, what do we got next? Yeah, Dennis Chandler, he said, I saw that Zark Muckerberg said that his Facebook will not be fact-checking Trump. Do you believe that? Really, folks, do you believe that? Do you believe that Facebook will not be fact-checking President Trump? I really think they will. Or flagging him. People will be able to flag him. Right, I'm expecting that. I don't believe Mark Zuckerberg any further than I could throw him like a dart. And I could throw him like a dart for a little bit, but not that far. Kind of like Jeff Bezos. Yeah, I really trust him to give away $60-70 billion. Yeah, right, my ass. And I really trust Joe Biden to forgive everyone's student loan debt and have it really help everyone in the country. No, these people are all about destroying the country. That's really what they're all about. All right, let's do this. Man, I know we've got some more out there. I want to get to everybody. And Penelope says, my opinion is that Hunter, Zelensky, and the FTX thing is all connected. It could be the linchpin. Who knows? Pop the popcorn. Oh, I agree. I completely and totally agree. I really think that they are connected. Hunter Biden was tied up in Ukraine. Zelensky was completely involved in the coup d'etat. These people, folks, they're just absolutely crooked to the core in Washington. Okay, thank you, man. It's unbelievable. The amount of money that was put in the hands of these lunatic children. Yeah, they were over the age of 18. Yeah, but still, who trusts a 22-year-old with $50 billion? And then this young man blames his ex-girlfriend for what she did, how she met. I mean, how does a girlfriend get control of all that money from her boyfriend? I mean, does she say, hey, I'll cook you a nice dinner if you let me push the buttons on your computer? How does that work? Literally, how does that work? These young people, they're lunatics. Right. Now, the world's largest oil producer, Saudi Arabia, they have issued a dire warning to you, to me, to the entire world. They have extremely low oil capacity. Interesting, huh? The world's largest oil producer now is saying they're extremely low. There's been a lot of, shall we say, interest in the amount of oil there is, right? How much is in the ground? Does Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, have they been lying about how much they have in reserve? Are they going to run out? Right? Are their wells going dry? A lot of questions about that. Some people say, hey, peak oil, we've passed it, they're running out. And others say, well, no, it's abiotic. The planet just generates and creates oil from the interior, and we've barely done anything. Well, let's look at it this way. Instead of looking at it from Well, if they can't produce the oil, someone else will, and we'll get it, and let's go get that oil. How about the World Economic Forum, Europe and America are into this low carbon until we can say no carbon attitude. And so they turn to Saudi Aramco and the princes and say, hey, look, you guys are running out of oil. Why don't you just stop pumping it and cause all kinds of chaos so we can have our economic way with the world through this great reset? Does that sound believable? It's like, well, Saudi Arabia, you've been good for us. We're going to take care of you, right? We're going to use you, Saudi Aramco, to make our goal happen. You pretend like you're out of oil so we can get more taxes, carbon credits, and all kinds of bullshit passed, carbon taxes on America and Europe. You do all that, and, we'll keep buying your oil. Don't you worry. We'll keep buying it as much as you produce, but we want to scare everybody. We want to push our political agenda. We want to push our environmental agenda. We want to hurt everybody, especially that Uman guy for driving such a big damn truck around. Yeah, folks, the world should be worried, but I'm not as worried about Saudi Aramco, Saudi Arabia. I'm not as worried about them as I am about those jackasses in Davos, Switzerland, and the idiots in Washington, D.C., and London, and Paris proper. All right, I think we've got someone who's got some funny for us. Man, what do we got next? Oh, shoot. It's none other than Nikki. Doing stuff with Nikki. She's back. And she says, this Polish missile defense system walks... Shit, oh my God. Okay, let's try this again. Nikki's got a barroom joke. It used to be a priest, a rabbi, and a Jew walk into a bar, or, whatever. A Catholic, a Protestant, and a Jew walk into a bar. No. A Polish missile defense system walks into a bar at noon and says, give me 6 shots of vodka. How can you afford to get drunk in the middle of a business day? The bartender asks. Easy, the Polish missile defense system replies, I don't work. Okay, Nikki, yes, I can drink all day because I don't work. Yeah, the Polish missile defense system. That's they've been pushing this since the first Gulf War with the Patriot missile system. Remember that when Saddam Hussein was launching his Scud missiles over at Israel and the Patriot missile system was firing back? Folks, that was 30 fucking years ago. 30 years ago, they introduced the Patriot missile system, the missile defense system that they had probably been working on for 30 years prior to that. And they got to showcase that shit. 30 years later, they still don't work. Are you prepared? 30 years later, folks, they can't stop a bunch of, Ukrainian Scud missiles, whatever junk they had. It was probably Soviet-era junk, slow, smelly, smoky missiles. I mean, there was one sitting on the ground. It looked like the entire missile was in one piece still. And I thought, what? Was it a fucking dud? Right? One blew up, the other hits the ground, just kind of rolls around. Ta-tunk, ka-tunk, ka-tunk. Sounds like a freaking, tin can with some rocks in it. It's like, whoops-a-daisy. See that Russian writing, though? That's a Russian missile. It's the Russians. The Russians are trying to start World War III. The Russians attack Poland. Get NATO and Article 5 going. We need to go after Russia. Holy cow, that was a Russian missile that just hit. What do you mean our Patriot missile, our defense missile systems don't work? What are they? Growing up, folks, the Polish jokes never stopped. They just never stopped. It was always funny. Anyways, here we are with the Polish missiles. They don't work, folks. These systems don't work. But the Israelis have their Iron Dome. And even if they did work, they don't work 100%. They're like, well, yeah, we picked off 50%. Okay, so what if they launch 200 missiles instead of 100? Well, 100 are going to hit. Okay, how about the hypersonic missiles? You can't see them, can't detect them, nothing. They're just too fucking fast. Well, that's not fair. It's not fair that they have those and we don't. There's no defense against them, folks. There's no defense against them. And people think that everything's just fine. Everything's just fine. Everything is just fine. No, I say shit has hit the fan, folks. I want to do before we close up, and we should just close out right here. I want to take one last peek at an email here to see if it changed. See if I have a super secret person in the background doing some work. Here it is. That's right. I knew this was coming. Karine Jean-Pierre, the little nitwit who couldn't. After Merrick Garlick appointed a special counsel to investigate Trump, she has this to say, quote, "We do not politicize the Department of Justice." What a fucking liar. Biden's a liar. She is a liar. Nancy's a liar. Chuck is a liar. Every Democrat is a lying sack of shit. And probably half or more of the Republicans are lying sacks of shit. Because they can get away with it. We do not politicize the Department of Defense. That's the first fucking thing they do. Let's see, Obama. He sent the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, to go out and harass right-wing Republicans. That's right, your grandma and grandpa, the Tea Party, and any political party that was interested in opposing the Obama regime had the IRS turn loose on them. Republican organizations were attacked politically, but using the power of the Revenue Department. Unfreaking believable. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. RU, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Are you prepared? Folks, Semper Fi, Godspeed. I will see you Sunday. Thank you for all that you have done for us. Keep waking people up. Get that internet address right up there, out to people, so they too can see the light. I'll see you soon. Sunday Night Live at the zoo.